Here's how to do a no-nonsense oil change on a Yamaha T7. So I'm going to break this down into 3 parts. Part number 1, parts and tools that we need to use to get this accomplished. 2, specs required when we're doing torque on things that need to be torqued. 3, get down to the actual doing. So, here we go. First off, we've got our list of tools. We're going to need a 17mm socket to get the drain plug out. We're going to want an 8mm socket to get the bash guard off the bottom of the bike. And we want some form of oil filter removal tool to get the old oil filter off the bike. Next up is the oil change kit. These are the part numbers I'm using. You can see it's valid for the Tenere 700. I went to the dealership and picked this up, and the dealership actually gave me a decent deal and also recorded that I bought this there per the warranty. The kit comes with 3 liters of oil, a new oil filter, a new crush washer, a set of rubber gloves, and a paper filter. All in, I believe I paid about 65 bucks for this. So first thing you're going to want to do, now that we're going to get down to the doing of the thing, is to warm your bike up. This makes sure that the oil flows a lot better than if you were going to service it cold. The oil will drain out a lot quicker. So what we're going to do is we need to first remove the bash guard, and that requires our 8mm socket, and there are 4 bolts that need to be removed. So you can see right here, I'm on the left side of the bike. We've got a symmetrical set of these bolts either side. There's one up front here. One back right here. It's pretty much in line with the shifter if you're looking for it, without actually getting on the bike to try to find it. See, that side's off. I'll go ahead and do the same on the other side, and we'll get to taking out that drain bolt. And make sure you're using your magnetic trays to keep your hardware all in one place. Now that the bash guard's off, you can see the drain bolt right there. I'm going to go ahead and grab an oil pan, throw it down under this bike. We're going to pop that bolt out and let this baby drain off. Once again, this is a 17mm socket to take this off. This is the opportune time to put on a bit of music, crack a beer, and give this thing a few minutes to completely drain off. As you can see, the oil coming out of it still looks pretty clear. That's because this is only the break-in service, so there's only about 1,000 kilometers on the bike. The recommended service interval for these bikes is something like 10,000 kilometers or 6,000 miles. The break-in period is 1,000 kilometers or 600 miles. I think I'm going to follow what people are doing on the forums and do this every 5,000 just to be sure we got good clean oil. While that's draining, we can go ahead and grab our filter removal tool and pop that filter off. Don't worry if you bend up the filter. It's going in the garbage anyways. Keep in mind these things should also be warm because you just rode the bike and heated up the oil. So we'll let this baby drain off and we'll come back to get everything back together. As for when we put the oil filter and the drain plug back on the bike, we can see right here, engine drain plug goes in at 43 Newton meters or 31 foot-pounds, and the oil filter goes in at 17 Newton meters or 12 foot-pounds. Usually I'll just do the oil filter hand tight and give it a good crank, same as if you're doing it on a car. One other thing I want to mention is the crush washer will usually stick onto the drain bolt. After 1,000 kilometers, I wouldn't be averse to reusing this crush washer, so if you go out and buy different oil and different filter, as long as it fits your bike, you can reuse this crush washer, not a big deal. So at this point we're at a pretty much slow drip now, so 99.9% of the oil is drained out. So I'm going to go ahead and give everything a wipe down with a bit of paper towel. We're going to go ahead and reinstall our drain plug, put the new filter on, and then we're ready to put some oil in this puppy. I'm not sure if it's going to pick this up, but usually when you do an oil filter replacement, you hit this ring with a bit of oil. That way it seals nice when you're putting it against the mating surface where it's going on the bike here. With these that come in this kit from Yamaha, there's already a bit of silicone grease on this, so it's not required. So we just pop this plastic off, screw it onto the bike, put it on good and hand tight, and we move on. Now that we got everything buttoned back up, we'll go ahead and start putting some oil on the bike. So let's have a quick chat about that. So here we're on the left side of the bike. Here's our filler cap. We can pop that off. And now, with a filter change, this bike takes 2.6 liters of oil. Not sure what that is in quarts, but you can use an online converter to figure that one out. There's also a sight glass. I'm going to turn you guys sideways. Right here on the underside of the bike. So you can just fill it up until you see it get into the sight glass, level your bike up, have a look, just make sure your level's at the top of the glass. So instead of using the paper funnel, I'm going to go ahead and use one of my regular plastic funnels, and it's not at all because I cut the bottom of that paper funnel off in a completely wrong place. So keep that in mind. Either way, like I said, 2.6 liters of Yamaha lube, 10W40 goes into this motor when you do the full oil change with the filter replacement. So we're going to go ahead and pound 2 liters into this. We'll tip the bike up, have a look at that sight glass and see how it's looking, and then we'll add as needed to get it up to the level that we want it to on the sight glass. So here we go. I needed 38 seconds of audio to go over this fast montage. So I figured I'd think about how I'm having a midlife crisis. I bought a new motorcycle, it's really fun. So here I am changing the oil, showing you how it's done. Yeah, it's done. Yeah. So that's the first 2 liters of oil. I'm going to situate this camera now so you can see the sight glass, and we're going to tip the bike up level and see if that oil is actually in the sight glass yet or not. Okay, let's tip her up and see where we're at. So as you can see, the oil level is, when the bike is level, just about halfway up the glass. So now we'll add a bit more, and then we'll check it again and make sure we're at the top. Quick trick for opening these foil tops. Just take a regular old screwdriver, make sure it's clean, pop it down through, just give it a little reeve back up, they pop right off just like that. No messing around trying to get them off. So that's about 2.5 liters I've got added so far. We're going to tip it up. Now if this goes to the top of the sight glass, one thing to keep in mind is the first time you start this bike, the oil pump's going to start pushing it through the system, and it's going to fill that oil filter up too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it up, let it run for a little bit, and then we'll check the sight glass again. So here, first this is what it looks like with the 2.5 added without the bike running at all. And you can see it goes right to the top of the sight glass. You can see we actually have to tip it the other way. Hold on, I'm going to bring it up a bit. Tip it the other way just a bit, see it come down level. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and start the bike and let that fill up that filter. Don't forget to put your filler cap on before you start the bike. It'll get messy. So now after running the bike for a few moments, we're going to come back in, zoom in on roughly where that filler cap is, try to get that in focus. Focus. Turn off the old auto adjuster. We'll tip it up. Now I've let the bike settle for about 30 seconds or so. 30 seconds to a minute should be long enough for all the oil to come back down to the motor, or to the base pan, sorry. So we'll tip it up and have a look. As you can see, the level is actually down about halfway down the sight glass because a lot of that oil is now sitting in that filter. So we're going to go ahead and throw in another couple hundred mils and we'll check the glass again. I think we'll be good. So there's another couple hundred mils in. We'll tip it up one more time, have a look. And there you go, the sight glass is pretty much near at the top now when the bike is level. So that's pretty much perfect level where you want it to. Let's get that bash grab back on and clue it up. I needed 38 seconds of audio to go over this fast montage. So I figured I'd think about how I'm having a midlife crisis. I bought a new motorcycle, it's really fun. So here I am changing the oil, showing you how it's done. Yeah, it's done. Yeah. So there you have it. For me, that was my after initial break-in period, 1,000 kilometers, 600 miles oil change on my brand new 2025 Tenere 700. Same applies for any oil change you're going to do on this bike. It's the exact same process. Like I said, manual says 10K or 6,000 miles. I'll be doing it mine at 5,000K, 3,000 miles. You know, I want this thing to last. Spend a lot of money on it, so take care of your bike and it'll take care of you. Anyways, appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully it helps someone out. See you next time. And yeah, for those of you interested, the C70 is still here. I still haven't put it together yet, but it's coming soon, I promise. See you later. I needed 38 seconds of audio to go over this fast montage. So I figured I'd think about how I'm